Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. In this video, I'll be reviewing the third ODI of the series played between England and India. England have won this match by 27 runs and have won this series by 2 matches to 1. Let's get into this review. Starting off with the playing 11s for India. Jasprit Bumrah had registered an injury before the start of the match, so Prince Yadav took his place, and that was the only change they had made. Now, they've not been playing Jasprit Bumrah often, and I've mentioned two reasons in terms of why players or bowlers can pick up injuries. The first one being, you've got examples of Nitish Kumar Reddy and Washington Sundar, where in terms of workload, they've not got much of a workload. But a reason I can think of could be the training in between the matches. But in Bumrah's case, we've seen that he's got a biomechanically strenuous action. And in the Bora Gavaskar Trophy of a couple of years ago, he went off in one of the matches and he didn't play the Champions Trophy. And I think in this case where he's not been playing much, so it can't be workload. Is it overtraining? I don't know, but he has got a biomechanically strenuous action. And it shows that even when he bowls for 2 matches after a while, when he's still getting injured, it shows that injury, because of the action, it can flare up at any point. So they've got to rectify that. They won't do so, but I think it should be done. And I think in the case of playing four seamers, I'd said if Bumrah was available, they should play four seamers. But in the absence of Bumrah, I thought this attack was one-dimensional, where you've got Akshar Patel, a defensive bowler. You've got Arshdeep Singh as a very good bowler, but the rest of the three, they're not going to provide that incisiveness in the middle overs as much as a Kuldeep Yadav or a Bumrah would do. And we saw that in this match. And for England, I don't know why they left out Saqib Mahmood. It didn't seem as if he was injured. And they played Josh Tongue and he went for runs in this match. And I said Saqib Mahmood bowls fuller than Josh Tongue, so he should play. They didn't do that. And they opened with Jacob Bedell again and he scored 91. According to me, he could have scored that 91 batting up 4 on a usual day. Now, if Woodjacks is going to bat at 7, in my view, is going to score 20 or 30, he's not going to play a match-winning knock because it's not his position, and you'd be bowling him more than the deliveries that he'd be facing, and I think that'd be wasting him. If you open with him, Bedell can bat at 4, and with the approach that Harry Brook takes, he bats at 5, Josh Buttler at 6, Sam Curran can bat at 7. And I think that makes his team look stronger than if Woodjacks and Jacob Bedell bat out of position, but they aren't going to change that. And England, when they won the toss, they correctly chose to bat first. Now, India bowled a lot of boundary balls at the start, and the opening partnership yielded 192 runs in 30 overs. And from India's perspective, you've seen this happen against Afghanistan, and I think the second ODI, where according to me, Gurnur Brar should bowl 1 out of the first 2 overs. And the times when he's been most effective in his short international career thus far is when he's bowled quickly, he's hit a length, but he's bowled with a new ball and he's extracted movement. In this case, he's brought on in the 13th over, meaning he's only going to bowl quickly. The movement's not going to be there as much, and I'm not going to criticize him much when he went for runs in his last 4 overs. I think he was on none for 35 in his 6th over. But he's not going to pick up many wickets. I've said he's a wicket-taking bowler but can go for runs. He's only going to go for runs if you remove the element where he was successful, meaning he's only going to bowl quickly at a length. So I think the arrangement should have been Arshdeep Singh first over, Gurnur Brar second over, Prasidh Krishna as the first change, then Prince Yadav. I don't know why Gurnur Brar was postponed in terms of when he bowled, because that meant that the movement was not going to be there, so he was only going to bowl quickly at a length. So what made him successful was not going to be present. And Akshar Patel is a defensive bowler, so they didn't have a middle overs wicket-taking threat like Bumrah if he was available, or Kuldeep Yadav. And I think Kuldeep Yadav should have played ahead of Prince Yadav in this case. And so that's what I would say on that. And Harry Brook, I think he scored about 14 off 12. And at that stage, I won't criticize him because he was looking to go for runs, but he's always going to be taking the aggressive approach. So I'd repeat, if you've got Jacob Bedell batting at 4, Harry Brook 5, Josh Buttler 6, in that situation, I think that on a usual day, this England team would look stronger. And Joe Root, where he didn't rely on power hitting, but he scored a 74 of 14. He's in very good form in ODI. So once again, continuing that. And Ben Duckett, he's not someone who looks to power the ball like Will Jacks, but I think we've seen across formats, especially most of the time he's played in ODIs and in tests, where he's been as consistent as he can be, but I also think he's got the ability to be measured while getting runs. And we've seen the Bazball approach that's been talked about in Test cricket, where now that's not going to, or the personnel, they aren't going to be there. But I think the reason why it was successful at times is because I think if England had understood when it was successful, when to use it, I think Ben Duckett was one of the better examples of how it could be successful, where you score boundaries at the start without slogging. The opposition spread the field, you rotate the strikes, then get timely boundaries. And I think Ben Duckett is someone who used that well, and we saw he played very well in this innings. And so that is on that. And because of the lack of an incisive middle overs bowler for India, and you're also looking at the bowlers they've played apart from Arshdeep Singh, where they are bowlers who, especially Gurnoor Brar, Prasidh Krishna, they can pick wickets, but they can go for runs. I think in this case, we saw that they didn't go well for India. And at the toss, the captain says, if we had won the toss, he would have bowled first, when in my preview I've said in the last 6 matches, no team has chased the score down at this venue. You've got this bowling attack and you're choosing to bowl first. I don't understand that. And India's batting, I'd say you're chasing 388, you score 360. That's still a good effort. And I'd say you saw Rohit Sharma, there was some talk before the match as to whether this would be his last ODI, but he played a very good innings in this match. I thought after he got to his century, he did score boundaries, but they seemed laboured. I think in the case where in previous years he would have sort of lasted through in terms of with greater energy. But I think that if that is restored, then we saw the ability that Rohit Sharma has. So he played very well. Shubman Gill also played well. Virat Kohli, 74 of 60, he was not fluent. But in spite of the lack of fluency in the innings, if he's scoring 120 strike rate, scoring 74, when expecting to chase 388 no matter who's batting, I don't think it's something which is feasible. If you get 360 in spite of that, I don't think you should be criticized for not getting over the line. So considering that on a bad day without Kohli scoring 74, it is a positive. And I don't know why they're sending KL Rahul out at number 6. And I won't blame him for that because it's not his position. Now, on Ishan Kishan 4, I won't criticize him for that. And I've said when they should do that, especially when 2 wickets fall within the first 12 overs. Now, what I'm saying is I don't mind them doing that here, but they should know, they should not omit the learning that I've mentioned every time when I've talked about the India ODI team, where pretend they're in Johannesburg, you're 50 for 2 in 10 overs. If you send Shreyas at 4 then all sending Ishan Kishan at 4 before then would be pointless, because when you should have taken the learning, you didn't do so. So I don't mind them sending Ishan Kishan at 4 here. I mean, maybe I'd send out KL Rahul at 4 because I think Ishan Kishan, in this case, he could bat at number 6. I would have sent out KL Rahul if the second wicket fell inside 2 overs, but they've been sending out Ishan Kishan earlier, and I think they'll continue to do that if he plays. But they'll say a left-hander, but as I've said in ODIs, and we've seen that in the 2023 World Cup, how well India played spin, I don't think there is a need to include a left-hander in the top 6, especially when Hardik Pandya returns. Then are you going to just try and fit the left-hander in there for match-up sake? In spite of the ability of Ishan Kishan, I don't think it is necessary. But I think if, let's say, in that scenario, when in 10 overs you're 50 for 2 in Johannesburg, you don't send KL Rahul out at 4 then and you send Shreyas in, then I think these previous actions, they would not have any value. So they've got to do it right in that moment. They've got to take the correct learning. And England's attack, Gus Atkinson, none for 26 and 4, didn't bowl after that. And Sam Curran, where you saw with the run rate required, it was increasing. He bowled those sort of slow deliveries and he picked up wickets. Josh Tongue went for runs. I think Saqib Mahmood should play instead of him because he bowls fuller. Al Rashid has not been effective in both these series, especially against India. His effectiveness has been reducing of late. And Jacob Bell 1 for 49 and 7, especially with the score India had to chase down. I think it's a good result for England. They got 7 overs out of Bell where they saw the other spinners were going for runs and he picked up a wicket as well. So and I think on England's case where if they configure the bowling attack slightly and the positions where the players are batting, as I said, Wojak's opening, Jacob Bell 4, they play Sakib Mahmood ahead of Josh Tang. I think England, if they pick up their form where until now, apart from the Sri Lanka series, they've lost most of the ODI series, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they play well in the 2027 World Cup, if they start winning series from now. And for India, we're looking at this bowling attack and we're seeing the talk that the transition phase and how they need to groom an attack for the future. And what I'm saying is you've got 20 ODIs left until the World Cup. Apart from Arshdeep Singh, you've got Prasidh Krishna, Prince Yadav, Gurnur Brad, Harshit Rana. To what extent are they going to improve in time for the World Cup? Are they going to improve to the extent where they're going to be a spearhead? I don't think so. Even if they bowl well, are they going to be at the extent where they're a spearhead? No, they aren't. Which means, to what extent are you going to be able to improve all 4 of those bowlers, especially when you're rotating everyone and experimenting? Then they're not all going to play the 20 ODIs, and I think many of those may not be in sort of South Africa, England, for example. So to what extent are they going to improve? I don't know. And in my view, the bowling attack should be the theme attack, the main 3, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I mean, as a coach, you don't know whether you're going to be around after 2 years. What are you doing trying to improve or create a future in your vision when you don't know how long you'll be around to carry on that vision? And it's so unnecessary. They're all 3, they're all bowling well. Mohammad Shami, you could say in the IPL, sometimes in the second half was on and off. But given in all 3 venues on this tour, on this ODI series, the balls moved around. A half-fit Mohammad Shami would have, and I say this with all due respect, a half-fit Mohammad Shami would have provided more of a threat than the bowlers who may be decent prospects. But if you're trying to play them in an ODI World Cup, I think if you're sidelining experienced players who have bowled very well, been fantastic, you're sidelining them to create a future in your image, an unnecessary future where you don't know whether you're going to be there to supervise that future. I think it's ridiculous. And about that, if Gautam Gambhir steps away or is shown the door after the 2027 World Cup, or let's say 2028, then the experienced players would have retired, and that means that the players who would be trying to develop, the new coach may come in and not want those players. So what's the point? You've just kicked out the experienced players. You've not groomed these new players to a satisfactory level where they're going to be spearheads. All you've done is it's been a waste of time. So I think this is a case where you just want authority, so you kick out the players who've been there before. It's such an unnecessary. You've not got 4 years until a World Cup. You've got 1 year. And there's all talk about Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, are they going to be in the team? And they kicked out Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, for what reason, I don't know. And the difference between Akshar Patel and Jadeja, I've said this before, I'll say this again. Jadeja turns the ball, Akshar Patel does not. So, in South Africa, let's say you defend 250, let's take this bowling attack, apart from Arshdeep Singh, Prasidh Krishna, Prince Yadav, Gurnur Brad. If something happens to Jasprit Bumrah, you've got to play these bowlers. You've got Akshar Patel as a defensive bowler. Are you going to defend that 250? No, you're not. In the previous World Cup, Mohammad Shami, a game breaker, Jasprit Bumrah, a game breaker. Those are the players. Jadeja picked 20 wickets in that. And he was a defensive bowler and he picked up 20 wickets. So why? Because he can turn the ball. Akshar Patel does not. So I think when you are choosing to move on from certain players, you've got to look to see how their technique can be restored with the ball and the bat. Jadeja's power hitting, can it be restored to what it was before? His bowling, can it be restored to what it was in 2023? Instead, now, Akshar Patel has been on and off in terms of his bowling. Washington Sundar has been bowling for 4 overs and he scored a 50 in the first match. But if he goes to runs with the ball, are they going to bat him at 5? No, they aren't. So I don't really understand what is going on here, because you don't know whether you're going to be there to supervise that future. another coach may turn up and deem all your prospects as not being as part of that coach's vision. And what's the point of what's happening now? So I don't understand that. You've got to bring back the experienced pros, because with the amount of players that India have, there's no danger of this transition phase of players not being there. You saw Surya Kumar Yadav, not T20 captain. Who's T20 captain? Shreyas Iyer has been fantastic in the IPL. So I don't really understand at all that. So now let's see what happens next. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, share with friends. This is my opinion.